Women support women. It's really awesome. Now, I'm not a woman, but she came out of her, sick bed today to come up here, and it really just represents who y'all are for each other. Sorry? Oh, okay, got it. Well, she came for y'all, but I get the benefit as well. I don't think I need this, do I? Y'all hear me fine, right? Yeah? First off, thanks for having me. I like to start with a couple questions. How many of you would like your second half to be your best half?
Yes.
Okay, now some of you are focused on eating and you didn't raise your hand. Let's try that again. How many of you would like your second half of life to be your best half? Thank you. And how many of you wouldn't mind throwing in some play, passion, and purpose as well? Cool? Cool. Well, that's what I'm here to chat with you about today, what I call the Back 40 Life's Radical Second Half for Badass Businesswomen. Now, first off, I just want to thank y'all for having me. This is a group that I just got acquainted with in May. I'm terribly impressed by y'all. I met Rupa Dash on LinkedIn, I think in April, and then I ended up here in May for an event where Sandra Yancey was speaking. Who was here?
I was here.
Wow. Wow, right? And so I'm honored by the power and the potential that this organization represents. The funny thing is, in my work as an author, speaker, spiritual counselor, coach, I know a lot of the people that are in this organization. How many of you have I had a relationship with in the past? Okay, there were a lot more here when Sandra was here. So I've known all these great women. I didn't know y'all all got together. That's cool.
Different all over the country.
Oh, I know, and I've done research now, and again, I'm just impressed by what the organization represents, the worldwide nature of it, your foundation. So what I'd like to do is just to set the tone for the next 15 to 20 minutes. I want to tell a little story. There was once a theologian, a really great minister, and he was going to a far-off land. And he was a great speaker, and they were waiting for him to show up, and they started lining up a couple days ahead of time. And then he finally came, and he came to the stage, and he went to the mic, and he said, "1 million people will die of hunger tonight, and most of you don't give a damn." And then he left the stage. Then he walked back up, and he said, "And the real problem is that most of you have an issue that I use the word damn than the million people that are starving tonight." Now, why do I say that? I say that there are minor issues and there's big possibilities. And what I'd like for us to focus on today is the big possibility. So I might say something in a way that doesn't resonate for you, or I might deliver an idea in a way that doesn't necessarily, fit. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, compared to the big possibility we can create here in the next 15 minutes, that's a minor issue, okay? So how many of you would be willing to just focus on the big possibility here? Yes? Turn to your neighbor and say, "I'm looking for some big possibility here today." Thank you. Thank you. Acknowledge yourselves. Acknowledge yourselves. And look, here's the reason I bring that up. And I talked to Sarah about this just a second ago. I put out the title of this about, for badass businesswomen. And then I started reaching out to a lot of the women I know, and people have different feelings about that, okay? So what I'm going to ask, and I have an acronym for that I'm going to share with y'all, okay? I don't think anyone will have a problem with what I stand for women, okay? And I'm just going to say, let's move to the big possibility. So here's my commitment in the next 15 minutes. I want to leave you in a question. I don't want to give you an answer, okay? Because I've noticed that whenever people think they find the answer to something, it actually kills off possibility, okay? So, because you've got the answer. Once you've got the answer, right? So what I'd like to do is I'd like to leave y'all in a question, because I find that an inquiry is something that keeps on giving. It's like a gift that keeps on giving, right? So is that okay that I leave y'all in a question today? Yeah? Cool. So here's the question. What if you have yet to do what you came here to do? Yeah?
I like that. I believe that. I believe that. Thank you.
I know that y'all are accomplished women. This is a great organization. Y'all are doing amazing things. Everyone in the room has tons of accomplishments. Even Norma, sitting here at Norma's wonderful age, I'm going to say all of us have yet to do what we came here to do. Okay? And that's an inquiry. That's an inquiry that I think would support you to stay in and to ruminate on. What if I have yet to do what I came here to do, no matter what I've done thus far? And what I believe that does is it'll bring up a couple other subsequent questions. The next question will be, so what did I come here to do? And how can I do what I came here to do? And the reason I bring this up is because I believe that in Western society, we have it, and look for yourselves, the way the media plays it. When people get into their 50s, 60s, you're starting to, move into the slower down second half. I don't believe it either, but I think our media and I think our culture has it that as we start to move into 50s, 60s, and 70s, we're going to start slowing down, that our best is already over. Our best career opportunities, our best relationship opportunities, our best creativity, our best ingenuity. We look at all these 21-year-olds starting up Facebook and, things like that, and it's easy to believe or to buy into that the best, has already come. But I want to propose something to you. What if the first half of life was just R&D? Sorry? Oh, okay, got it. Not that R&D. What if it was research and development? What if everything that's happened thus far has been a laboratory? And you've been running laboratory experiments. Because when you think about it, at 18, 20, 25, do you have any idea what you came here to do? No. Do you have any sense of purpose? You think you do. My 22-year-old son does believe he does. But when we look back now, it's like we don't have the whole world of possibility ahead of us because we're just starting out. We're trying things. And what happens, I believe, is that we get projected out into life. It's either our family, our culture, either being like our parents wanted us to be or being exactly the opposite of what they wanted us to be. It's like we've got all these motivations that are running us, but we're just running, okay? Not with awareness. And then what do? Then we get our degree. And then we, get our car. And then we get married. And then we get a house. And we have kids. And we're running. And a lot of times we get to, 40s, 50s, and it's like a hurricane just passed. Can anybody relate to what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I believe that none of that's bad. That's just the way it goes. But if we can take time now at this midlife juncture and look to see what have we discovered about ourselves. I'm not talking about wisdom though, okay? I think wisdom can be our Achilles heel, okay? But what I am saying is that if we've now experimented and done these lab experiments, what do we now know about what our real passion is? What are our real proclivities, our real tendencies? So I'm saying that at this midlife juncture, it's possible to mine that, to discover what we really came here to do, to create this back 40 of what I say is play, passion, and purpose. I say that there's a few, I call it a fuse. You've got a formula. You've been doing lab experiments. What do they do in the lab? They come up with formulas, right? So I say you've come up with your formula of unique self-expression, and I believe that that whole first half is just an enabling mechanism to get to the second half. Like really, now, and again, this is a little bit radical when you consider what society says. What if it's all about the second half? Okay? I love chocolate chip cookies, but I believe the cookie is just an enabling mechanism for the chip. In other words, it's a carrier. It's all about the chip for me, okay? And I think that what we're really here... Sorry? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to these couple questions. What did I come here to do, and how can I now do that? So, to begin to look at what we came here to do, I would offer that we want to embrace certain elements. And when I say embrace, I'm talking about a different relationship than, like when I say your past. How many of you have dealt with your past? How many of you have had closure on your past? How many of you are complete with your past? How many of you haven't really handled your past? The point is that when we look at the past, and we look at it from all of those ways I just mentioned, closure, complete, deal with it, that has us be that we're kind of at the effect of something that happened to us. Like, it happened, and now we're going to deal with it in a transformed way or something like that. One way to embrace your past, I say, that really shifts everything is when you can put yourself at cause in the matter of it. In other words, you designed it that way so that at this midlife juncture, you could now see what you are here to see about your purpose. So in other words, rather than just deal with the past, what if we authored it? And what if we can see how we plan this whole darn thing to get us to some self-expression directives? You know, your ability to express who you really are now is a whole other thing than it was 20, 30 years ago. Yes? Yes. Yes. So number one, embracing our past in a way we've never embraced it. Number two, embracing our present. Because whatever's going on right now, you could also be at the effect of. And when you're at the effect of anything, you're not shaping. But what if you're causing this too? And what if you're doing it, and it's another lab experiment so that you can see, what is it that I'm really here to do? What are my self-expression directives coming out of this lab experiment? Another embrace is to embrace our gifts. You are a whole other person than you were 15, 20 years ago. You may have studied this or that at school, but you've picked up things, and you have abilities, and you know things now that you never planned. Like, I know the family law system really well now, but I never went to law school. I did go through a $500,000 custody suit. So what I'm saying is it's good to do an inventory now on what are the gifts that you have now. Also, what are your values now? Because, again, you're very different than you were 15, 20 years ago. Moving into a powerful back 40 with obsolete or expired values is not going to get you far. So embracing these things, and then what I say is to embrace our initiation. How many of you have heard the term midlife crisis? How many of you are jumping up and down about midlife crisis? Right? That's kind of the way our culture is. Thank you. And I think if what I say resonates, you tell me why. Because I say that whatever that is that occurs in the 40s or 50s, and by the way, stuff happens all through life, right? But there's something that's going to happen in your 40s or 50s, right? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Stuff. Stuff's going to happen. It's either going to be financial, relationship, death, divorce. Something's going to happen. And you can either be at the effect of that stuff and then have that shape the rest of your life, or you can take it on that this is your wake-up call. This is your initiation. Is this resonating? Is this what you are agreeing with, Norma?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably your story, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think what my partner and I, Alexandra's my partner in the back, raise your hand, we're really committed to changing the languaging in our culture from midlife crisis to midlife opportunity.
Perfect. That's what happened.
Well, I would love to hear your story. When we're
Great.
okay, please. So, you know, what if it's really the wake-up call? What if it's your initiation? How many of you were ever in a sorority or some kind of order where you went through an initiation. You know what I'm talking about? Initiation process? Well, what if that's what that is, and it's like, welcome to the party? Like, now you get to do what you came here to do. What if 21-year-olds were looking forward to their midlife opportunity, as opposed to the way we've got it shaped now, that some stuff's going to happen and it's going to screw you up, right? So what I offer is that when we can take all of this from our front 40 and mine it for the gold, for those self-expression directives, then we can create our purposeful second half. Then we embrace our purpose and we embrace a presence. And by the way, your purpose falls out of it. When you really mine this first half for your self-expression directives, your purpose just falls out of it. So we embrace the purpose and then we embrace a presence, meaning something bigger than you using you. Yeah? So anyhow, that's how we get to, what did I come here to do? Now, in terms of how do I do that, there are certain principles that for those of us who've been around a while in life, we don't usually operate by, but we want to take on operating by new principles. Okay? One is be curious. Because when we've been around for a while, it's real easy. I mean, tell me, how many of you, or have a friend who has said, been there, done that? Anybody? No, come on. Anybody been there, done that? How many of you have found yourself, or you have a friend who has said, that's just not me? Yes? What if you're not anything but some way you've limited yourself to be? When you look at 20, 22-year-olds, they're going out into life. They don't know any better. They're curious. But we get to this point, midlife, where it's like possibility can't enter in because we know. That's where wisdom is our Achilles heel. And secondly, another principle to take on to design this playful, passionate second half is play first. Now, what do I mean by play first? How many of you, be honest, now I'm watching you, okay? Be honest. How many of you need to dot your I's and cross your T's before you take action on things? Come on. How many of you know someone who's going to write a book one day? Come on. Who am I talking to here? How many of you know somebody who's going to write a book one day? How many of you have had ideas of ventures or businesses or new lifestyles or whatever you want to try, but you don't understand enough yet, right? It's like what happens is that we need to look good and we need to make sure we're going to win before we just play. And if you look at kids out in the yard, kids are out there playing and they play a game and then somebody comes up with another game and they play that game. And it's like they don't say, oh, I don't know if I can play that one. I don't know if I can win. Or I may not look good if I play that game, right? So this idea of playing first is play first before you get it all worked out. Start to take risks again. As we get into midlife, man, our risk adaptability is really, it just sucks, right? We don't want to take on risks. So playing first means playing ugly, and it means playing, learning as you go, just like they do in sports. They get out on the field, they play, they win, they lose, but sometimes that they always learn. So here's a couple. First off, I just hope I wish I had more than 20 minutes, but I want to keep it to that. What I'm really committed to, and my partner as well, is we're really committed to transforming the possibility that midlife is, and that like really turn the culture around so that people can get what we came here as the second half, so that people are living into a purpose, playfully, right? I think women, somebody got up here a minute ago and said something about, men don't appreciate, women being the powerful. I think women, I would love to see women, and I'm committed that women play a bigger and bigger role in the way things are going, okay? And one little snippet, I felt that my mom was under my dad's thumb. And so my whole life I've been about empowering and supporting women. I want, they make a difference that, and again, You know, it's not to down talk men, but women bring something to something. And here's what I have badass mean, okay? First off, bold. Moving without hesitation into danger or rebuff. Like bold enough to move without hesitation, even if it looks like it's going to be dangerous. Astute. Astute. Keenly discerning. Knowing what's real and what's not real, right? D, dynamic. Energetic, vitality. See, a lot of times, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but women buy into that the body's just going a particular way. You know what? There's too many examples out there of women who take it on, and I'm just saying that your dynamism and your vitality is critical, okay? The next A is ass-kickingly sympathetic. So we want both of those elements. We need to have the compassion, but we also got to have that ability to move things and to move people. The first S is self-awareness, being able to look for who you are inside versus outside. And then the last S is self-care. Because it's critical that you fill your tank, you put your oxygen mask on first, no martyrs allowed. So that's what badass means to me. And, you know, look, if on the little write-up it said, come find out what part you play. If you are with my partner and I and believe that, as Frank Sinatra sings, the best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? Then join us. If you're not with us, then you're somehow believing that your best is over, okay? So what I'd love to invite y'all to do is we're going to offer a 20-minute big game assessment to everyone here. I would invite y'all to step into that and just come see what we're doing. I appreciate being here. I love this organization, and I love the power that y'all represent. So thanks for having me.
Do we get to ask questions?
Yes, please. Well, it's up to you, Sarah.
We're like on time, but do you mind if we go over time with this? Because Daryl was so great.
We need to keep time. We do?
Okay, well,
I'm available over here for questions. I'll stay here as long as anyone.
Daryl, see you now. Okay?
Yep.